world is a hard place to live every day, but there's always those little things that seem to stay, like the colors in autumn or the shape of one smile. Yours makes my life seem worthwhile. Without you, the sun don't shine, birds won't sing a measure. Without you, the words and songs don't rhyme. Without you, the tides won't rise. No more seasons in the weather. Without you, my heart's just longing to beat. When everything seems tough to reach up above, don't lose your feather from my dove. And if you feel like you're broken, just want to surrender before you get lost. Please remember, without you, the sun don't shine, birds won't sing a measure. Without you, the words and songs don't rhyme. Without you, the tides won't rise. No more seasons in the weather. Without you, my heart's just longing to beat. Without you, the sun don't shine, birds won't sing a measure. Without you, the words and songs don't rhyme. Oh, without you, the tides won't rise. No more seasons in the weather. Without you, my heart's just longing to be lost for you. You will have a home, we'll always be together, always for you. You will never be alone. Lost for you. I will stand strong and fight for you forever, always for you. My soul will sing your song, your song. My soul will sing your song. Yeah, my soul will sing your song.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Guitar Tales. My name is Dave Cohen. We are thrilled to be here tonight This is a show that we have been working on together for a long time. I look over there, the camera's not even there yet. But a fabulous show tonight, a show filled with gratitude because we have two guests tonight, two wonderful guests. Before we get into any of that, as I do every week, I want to thank our dear friends and the wonderful folks who populate Riverview Studios. This is a fabulous facility. We have great interiors, we have great exteriors. I always use this word, it is eclectic in here. It's such a cool studio. If you have any filming needs, if you have any creative needs, come by. Don't just call, don't just go to the website. You have to check out the studio. We sit on the banks of the Delaware River. We are in Bordentown, New Jersey, which is central to both New York, Philadelphia, and all the suburbs around it. It's beyond fabulous here, and more important than the building are the great people who populate this building. There's talent, there is creativity, and there is caring for all of our clients here at Riverview. So I really urge you, if you have any kind of filming needs, come here. It's great. Now I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled to talk about episode 3 of season 2. We have with us two guests. We have Eryn O'Ree and MATTO'REE. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Great to be here.
You know, you guys recorded 2 songs. The songs had Monica in tears, literally the second song. I had goosebumps on my arms, just that good. Originals that were
Thank
fabulous. You guys are a fabulous duo. I think you should get married.
Good idea.
All right, you gonna do it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, good, good. So, before we get into an interview that we've been excited about here for months now, you know our game. You both know our game, and Matt, I'm going to direct it to you. So the name of the game, there's someone named Jon Bon Jovi. You may or may not have heard of him.
I have.
Okay. So it's 6 degrees of Jon Bon Jovi, and the idea is we see how many steps does it take, you know, before you know, I'm just like, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So do you have any stories? Do you have anything you could share with us that bridges us really from you to Jon Bon Jovi?
You know, I'm not quite sure can come up with the right answer, but I think if we watch this video, it'll make all the sense in the world.
All right, let's take a look. All right, I get it. Here's what I got to tell you.
Okay.
You are the reigning champion, currently,
Okay.
of 6 degrees of Jon Bon Jovi. As I say every week, I think there's a guy floating around out there who's about 42 miles away off Route 195 who might be able to beat you.
Probably.
Probably can, but that's about it. After what we just saw over there,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else could beat you. You are the reigning champion.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations. Well, now, we were talking, and people who watch the show know we do these little, pre-show snippets on Facebook and Instagram. We've been here for about an hour and a half together, and we've all agreed we could talk 5 hours. We won't.
Easy.
Probably not. Maybe we will. We'll see. See how tired everyone gets here and how much this works on us before we start. So let me start with you, Eryn.
All right.
We heard your singing. Now, what the audience will have seen so far was only song 1, where you're doing some beautiful singing. Song number 2, which we're going to play at some point here, you open up. Holy crap. You've got serious pipes.
Thank you.
When did you become a professional singer? Or when did you first have an interest?
I was born and raised singing.
Really?
I grew up singing with my family. So every
Really?
family event was my grandfather playing guitar and my aunts and everyone sitting around the table singing.
So you're a musical family.
Yes, both sides.
Really?
Yep.
Now, professional, amateur, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, yeah.
Okay. So you grew up in Maryland.
Yes.
Okay. Did you get involved with high school musicals, things like that, or more independent rockish kind of stuff?
Yeah, I wasn't into the theater as much because I was very, very shy.
Okay.
So I still have, talking into the microphone. I clam up sometimes.
Well-
So I did more chorus. I did a lot of choirs and sang in the church choir.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
grew up singing country music.
I heard that in the song. We'll have to figure out where to put it in on the show. That had a real country flair to it. Now we were talking before the show started. There's a video going around on America's Got Talent of a young girl really, 13, 14 years old, who's kind of demure and quiet, and then she explodes. With you, I think it's organic in that you're very quiet right now. And in your song, my comment to you after you performed it was, that mic can't handle you. You literally have to pull back from the mic because it's no match for you. You know?
It's even tough to capture her in the recording studio because even with the unbelievable microphones, $20,000 for a microphone, even Eryn's voice is so powerful it usually distorts the microphone, and it's built for that. But
Wow. Yeah.
it's even hard to find the right microphone for her.
So in song number one, there were actually both songs. You were doing great guitar solos, and I'm, cursing to myself, "Holy F!" This is great. With your singing, I found myself doing that when you started opening up.
Yeah.
It's like you're just sort of tapping the gas in the beginning of the song, and you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go on 6 cylinders, 7 cylinders, 8 cylinders, and then it just explodes, and it's emotion.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about, I know a little bit because we talked very briefly, who that song was written for and what it's about.
Oh yeah.
And the title, by the way.
It's called Without You,
Okay.
and I wrote it, the lyrics for my daughter Emily,
Okay.
and it's kind of just saying like the world wouldn't be the same without you. Yeah.
Do you feel it you looked like you were feeling it. Every time you sing that, do you feel it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you see your daughter in your head when you sing it?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes she's right there in the audience.
Oh, right. Like literally. Yeah.
Running our merch table.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, or roadieing for us.
But you close your eyes when you sing.
I do, yes.
And do you sort of visualize the song as you do it?
Yeah, I have some things going around in my brain.
That's really cool. I mean, one of the things I see these days, and it's usually if covers aren't done well, but I'll often see singers who aren't appreciating the lyrics of what they sing.
Yes, I think that happens a lot.
I'm even going to say something controversial here. So I love First Cut is the Deepest by Rod Stewart. Is that the full? First Cut, I guess, is the name of the song, right? Rod
First
Stewart?
Cut is deep. Yeah, it's Cat Stevens.
He wrote that?
Cat Stevens.
Really? I didn't know that. So I love Sheryl Crow, but when I listen to her version, I don't think she's feeling those lyrics.
Sure.
And I think Rod does, and it's funny
Yeah.
because I thought he wrote it, and I was wrong. But even on a professional level, I think she has all these great vocal gymnastics that she does on it, but I don't feel like they're inhabiting her.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's tough sometimes when you don't write the lyrics,
Right.
and trying to connect to that to deliver a performance that seems believable. There is definitely a bit of acting involved in that, but you're trying to put usually why we're closing our eyes because we're putting ourselves,
Right.
we're going to that place in our minds to find those things,
Right.
And the reason why I've gotten fired from every cover wedding band I've ever been in is because I only like to sing songs that resonate with me.
Oh, that makes sense. Right, right.
So the wedding bands are like, yeah, no.
No, because that's not the function,
No,
I
Right.
guess, of a wedding band.
Yeah.
But to be a certain type of vocal artist, you've got to wait till the song inhabits you, I guess.
Yep. And I always try to change it up a little bit and make it mine. I do it my way.
Right. Now, are there times let's say if you're touring, sometimes you feel like it inhabits you, sometimes do you feel like you just can't pull it inside you, or?
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
Depends on how many miles we drove.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the audience, like what kind of energy you're
The
getting.
energy
or
from the
that-
audience.
That's
That's
the
the
big
main
thing.
thing.
Right.
And the sound.
Yes.
If the sound is bad on stage, it can ruin the whole night.
It crumbles.
Yeah. Matt gets
Yeah.
angry.
Oh, I bet.
Son of a.
Right. Well, you know, the funny thing is, so the clip we just watched, so what I noticed in that clip, so you're playing with Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
and you do this sort of Chuck Berry-ish, I don't know how to do it, and God knows I won't try, this sort of, not skipping, that makes it sound too trite, but you do this sort of move with the guitar where you're sort of playing, you're moving on the
Sure.
stage,
Yeah.
and that audience of 45,000 people explodes
Yes.
the minute you start doing that. Like, I noticed that. And you're playing, obviously, while you're doing it. And I wonder what the feeling is like when 45,000 people
I
are
wanna know
getting
what that's
excited
like.
of what you're doing.
You know, with today's technology in terms of sound reinforcement, on bigger stages like that, almost everybody is on inner ear molded
You don't know?
monitors. So unfortunately, I didn't hear any of that.
And I guess you shouldn't, right? Because otherwise
yeah.
you can't hear what you're doing.
Possibly, but it'd be nice to feel that.
Yeah.
Normally the inner ears, I love them. Erin's not much of a fan of them, but
No. Even more organic than Matt.
yeah.
I'm not a
But
fan.
I like them also because they filter out 90 to 95% of the outside noise.
Right.
So as we get older as musicians, you know, hearing fatigue and tinnitus becomes an issue.
That's huge, right.
So any way you can try to minimize that, which is one of the reasons why I love them so much. I also love them because no matter where you are on the stage, and obviously a Bon Jovi stage is the size of a football field, so
Right.
no matter where you stand, you have the same sound in your ears. The only
Right.
thing that happens on that big stage is you kind of become disconnected sound-wise with the audience. But,
Right.
you know, sometimes they'll put a couple audience mics up and they'll put some of that through your.
Oh,
through
so
your
they will.
mix.
They'll mix a little bit
a
of that
little
in?
bit of it, yeah. But
But is that artificial because someone in a sound booth is controlling how? I mean, there could be five
it could be,
people
yeah.
who sound like 40,000 or 40,000 who sound like
Sure.
5, I guess.
But it was nice to get home and see those, you know, some of those videos, and I was like, wow,
That clip's crazy.
I did that.
Yeah.
I checked it out, you know, I was like, my God, I finally played stadiums and with one of the biggest rock bands in the world.
In
you
the
know, In the
world.
world.
I know.
It was an absolute home run and talk about a miracle, and every which way you can name that as a musician for something like that to happen to somebody who's struggled and worked so hard to try to
Right.
to get to that level, and all of a sudden it happens and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
No, I mean, I know a little of your story, and the one thing before we get into it, and I do want to,
Sure.
Eryn and I were chatting, I think on one of our off parts here, is that in that video, what did you see in Bon Jovi's face?
Yes, he looked so proud. He
Yeah.
was just smiling at you.
It was so cool, and then he ends the clip when he says matto'ree.
Yeah.
You know, but he looked, I mean, he's probably not that much older, but he looked like a proud father to me.
Sure.
Yes.
You
What-
know, like
what-
there was such joy in his face, you know, because I guess whatever his inner dialogue is, he used to tour with certain people, and now he's put together a different group of people.
Sure.
And you guys, is that Phil X? Is that the guy you were
Yes, I was
going back and
played
forth with?
yeah.
Watching
Yep.
you guys together.
We had so much fun together, Phil and I.
Oh my God, there was like websites. Who's better? You were winning those. I was reading the comments. But he's wonderful,
He's
Feels
great.
great.
He's a great musician.
and he does this crazy thing. I was asking Scott Engel about it, our publicist,
Yeah.
where he takes his pick and it's like he's punching the guitar.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, all right, he's starting maybe 18 inches back and he's hitting where he needs to hit. And it looks very dramatic. It's a cool stage thing, but I would
Sure.
think that's probably kind of hard.
Yeah.
To be accurate with it, yeah,
Yeah.
and which he is, of course. You know, his technique is flawless.
Yeah. Well, and then you, like even in your song, you guys played the first song you played today, or the second.
Second.
When you've got that ninth where you're sliding that around and going into a complicated thing, not on an electric guitar with fuzz where you could hide behind anything.
Sometimes, yeah.
that you're like naked on that Martin.
I know.
Like you know, whatever's going on, like
Which is, I'd rather be naked with that guitar than any other
it's gorgeous.
acoustic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So let me do this a little bit. So we talked a little bit of Eryn's background, and we're going to jump more into it. So you're Maryland born.
That's
Okay.
correct.
You were Jersey born, Homedale.
Correct, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was in Poor Mattawan. You were in fancy Homedale.
Oh,
growing up.
well, but we were neighbors.
Yeah, we were. I think the towns touch each other, right?
They do, and when I was in high school, I know there was sort of a rivalry between
Well, we were the poor
football
kids.
teams or something, and there was always a fight at somebody's house party that shouldn't
Yes.
have been having a house
Well,
party.
St. John's caused all the fights.
That's what I
which
remember.
is, yes, they
Yeah.
caused all the fights. But so you grew up in Homedale,
Yeah.
Homedale High School or private?
Homedale. Yeah.
Okay. So when did you pick up your first guitar?
I was 9.
Oh.
So my dad played, and my other siblings kind of messed around with it a little bit too. My dad tried to encourage us to play the guitar, so my 2 sisters each had an acoustic guitar, and my brother and I shared an electric that one of our friends' uncle gave to us.
So what kind was it?
It was a Modera, which was an offshoot from Guild.
Oh, that's not
I think
bad.
that was Guild's like import
Okay.
line or something like that. It was a double cutaway, kind of looked like a Les
Like a
Paul Jr.,
Oh, okay. All
but
right.
a double cutaway. And so that's kind of how I started on that. But I didn't last that long at 9. It really wasn't until I was 13 that
Okay.
I really got bit by it. And it was the influence of a few schoolmates. One we talked about before, my buddy Mark, that was involved in the Kramer Guitar Factory.
Right.
And
we
another,
talked about him off air before the show, right?
yeah. And another buddy of mine named Garen, and it was those 2 guys that was like, I learned so much from them, because at that point, there's no internet, so it was everything that was out of a book.
Right. Yeah. You're not going on YouTube like the kids do now to learn how to play, or
yeah.
not learn. Right.
And my parents didn't send me for lessons or nothing like that, so
Okay.
it was either anything out of a book that I could find, guitar magazines.
Oh, right.
Guitar
We
for
all
the-
subscribe to that, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Guitar for the Practicing Musician was my favorite back then. That and Guitar World.
And then how many times did Frampton make the cover? That was it like
I
every other
can't
issue?
even- Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Eddie Van Halen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Once.
And Jimmy
yeah.
Page.
Right. Oh, right. Right. Yeah.
So was that anything I get my hands on to learn, licks or patterns or scales or chords, but I learned a lot from my 2 friends, Garen and Mark.
So what was your motivation then? Like, in other words, I will tell you, with me, it was just this shallow, insecure little kid who thought maybe girls will like me if I play guitar. And then incidentally, I began loving music and guitar.
Yeah.
Did you have a more pure
Most musicians would be lying if they didn't say that there was some kind of, vehicle to meet a girl.
Right.
But
Erin's like,
through it.
really? She's going to leave you now.
Nah. But most of it was, I always felt when I was younger, when my sisters or brother would try to sing along to the record.
Oh, so you were aspiring to what you saw your siblings doing, too.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
That's right. And then your parents, your dad.
My dad, for sure, yeah.
So what did he play?
He played guitar.
Okay, and did he play in bands? Did he play just around the house?
It was just for fun for him.
Oh, that's
just
great.
a fun hobby.
Was he an acoustic, electric, or both kind of guy?
He was more of an electric. I remember him shopping for a Les Paul.
Oh, wow.
And he still has it, and he still has the receipt and the
Does he really?
the hang tag. He keeps everything. Yeah, so
That's
he
great.
still has all that stuff. Yeah.
So if you're in Homedale, you're at Jack's Music, Red Bank Music, Guitar Trader, all those?
that Guitar Trader, I was at the Red Bank Music when they went out of business, and they
Right.
had the big sale. My
They're
mom,
all gone now.
I know. And Jack's was the other place. Jack's was the place where I bought my first real quality electric at the time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so you had your Madera, what was it called?
Madeira. Yeah.
Madera.
Yeah.
And then when did you trade up to something advanced?
Since my friend Mark's father was the vice president of Kramer, I had gotten a Kramer guitar through him, but it was one of their lower ends. It was actually through another person that came from my
Right.
friend Mark, but I wound up having that guitar for a little while, and then I traded that in at Jack's Music for an American-made Kramer guitar.
Oh,
that
now you weren't doing the aluminum neck ones. You were.
no, they were long gone at that
I'm
point.
guessing I'm a little. What?
Just had to be
Mid
back-
40s, late 40s. How old are you?
Yeah, 47.
All right, I'm 55.
Okay.
So when I was buying my Kramers, they were still making the aluminum split,
Split
you
neck,
know,
yeah.
which was wonderful and problematical at the same time.
Sure.
But they were exploding. They were absolutely exploding when they got into that Korean market, and they were, or the Korean manufacturer.
Oh yeah,
It
for
was
sure.
crazy. And then Eddie.
And then Eddie signing on, obviously, And at that point, as a kid in high school, or really 7th and 8th grade, Van Halen was huge,
Gigantic.
gigantic. And if you didn't have a Kramer at that point,
You're right.
you had nothing. So it was like every kid wanted a Kramer guitar.
And not only
You
that, they were
had-
affordable.
Yeah.
Like back then, you had you know, Fender and Gibson were not touchable if you're a high school kid without a lot of
definitely
money.
not. I used to cut grass, you know, for neighbors and make money, and I saved up all my grass cutting money for a summer, and I bought that Kramer. It was $700.
Wow.
Which was a lot of money for a kid,
Yeah.
you know, but I managed to scrape it together. My parents threw in a few dollars, and
So you got your buddy a Kramer,
Yep.
$700 for a Kramer.
it was a lot. I mean, that was a lot for a kid, you know. Again, I was cutting grass, you know, and
Yeah.
with my dad's lawnmower.
I had
Saved up for it.
I had a $15 used Simplex lawnmower. I cut Lawn Doctors National Headquarters on Route 34.
Wow,
That's why I bought my guitars.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't know Kramers got that expensive back then. I thought they were
Yeah,
more
the-
like, you know, like $100, $300.
They had those lines. So the Korean ones that you were talking about, referring to
Right.
the imported ones, they also were still making USA made guitars.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay,
yeah.
right.
So there was a difference in price and of course a difference in quality.
Oh, right, because they had the plant like Neptune area.
It was
right?
Neptune, yeah.
Right, right. Okay. And yeah, so they just exploded. And then what are you doing musically in high school? Are you in a band? Are you doing it through the school on your own, or nothing yet?
I never really got into the band per se in the school system,
Right.
but I was playing with my friends. You know, we had a great drummer at the time, and you know, we all played at his house probably 3 days a week after school.
And when did you graduate? Because that's my little beginning, and somehow I
Yeah.
took a very less interesting tack in life. But so you went from that to playing in front of people, and how did that occur?
We actually had, you know, in Homedale we had performances. They put on coffee houses. They had
Really?
they had a rock show
Where?
that was it was a battle of the bands. They had it in the auditorium
At school?
at school, and it
Really?
turned out to be a mess. And other people from other schools came, and people snuck beer in, and they were drunk in the bathroom and made and that was it. That was the last of it, because it was such chaos apparently.
Right.
And they
When
made
you rolled your Marshall down the hallway.
yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
what kid in high school is a marshal?
Right?
I know.
How'd you get a marshal? Oh, you know why?
Cutting grass.
Homedale.
Oh, come on.
Fancy home. We poor Mattawa kids couldn't do that.
You guys had PVs.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
marshals.
Yeah, I had a solid state son.
Yes.
Not a good son, a solid state
Solid
son.
state.
But it was still a son. But yeah, you fancy kids from Homedale with your Marshalls, $700 Kramers.
No, my parents were, you know, they taught us right. Everything we wanted was
Yeah,
there. You just had to work for it.
That's great.
And we worked our tails off, and we were always working.
Right.
You know, my parents both worked constantly. You know, 6, 7 days a week, all the time, for years. They did that. So, I'm a workaholic because of that. I never stop.
I could tell that. You know, I've done a lot of searching, and I've watched a lot of your stuff on YouTube. You love your gear.
I do.
And dare we go down a rabbit trail? We're going to be down it a long time.
It'll be a really long episode.
I think it will, and that's
Yeah.
okay. There's no limits on this show. Now let's talk about you. You brought a friend with you.
Yep.
Let's talk about the friend who's right next to you, right over there.
Okay.
That appears to be a Les Paul.
It is, yes.
Let's take a look at
So
it.
funny enough, as
Yeah.
a kid, right, Kramer was everything, and Van Halen was everything, and
Right.
and at the same time, I had I stumbled. I started off really as a Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
I was fascinated with Jimi Hendrix, and then I got into Van Halen, and of course that was a normal thing.
And you're the same
in the 80s,
guy,
you know.
separated by, I guess, 20 years. No, not even 20 years.
Yeah.
15 years, maybe.
And then about the same time, having the Kramer, I wanted to get a Fender because I became so.
Jimmy was a Fender guy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Fender
Jimmy,
through Sun Tube or Marshall.
or
right?
Marshall, yeah.
Right.
But then and then I got into Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that was like
Yeah.
another eye-opening thing too. So,
What did he play?
he was playing Fender Stratocasters. yeah,
Okay.
through Fender amps.
Right,
mostly,
Fender through
yeah.
Fender through a twin reverb.
Yep.
It's hard to beat that sound.
And
Right.
he also used a Dumble, which is
What's that?
a Dumble is a West Coast guy, Howard Dumble. Was one of the early boutique amp builders.
Okay.
Howard was the West Coast guy, and I always say that Ken Fisher, who made the Trainwreck amplifier, which is what I play nowadays.
Okay.
He-
I actually watched your episode talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Kenny being the East Coast guy, the two of them, in my opinion, really single-handedly started the boutique industry because they were the guys that were really building something that was not the run-of-the-mill Marshall, Fender, or Vox that you would find in a music store or Peavey, you know.
Now, I've tried on this show to tell the backstory of Boogie, and I think I give a bastardized version. Do you know, like, the right version of the Mesa Boogie backstory?
That one I don't. I never really went down that path with Mesa, but I've heard great tones out of them.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I heard what they did is they basically put a Marshall inside of a Fender, not even a Fender Twin, like a Fender Princeton amp.
Oh, wow.
And they just sort of stuffed it in and tricked people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So let's talk about this guy here. So what year is he or she?
So I bought this. This is a 2001. It's a custom shop, historic 1958 reproduction.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things that, you know, Gibson, one of the positive things that Gibson did, obviously, and then I think the early 90s, they started the custom shop.
Okay, and what does that mean?
And so the custom shop was a completely different facility. And it was.
Is that the one in Memphis?
It's in Nashville,
okay.
or at least it was. I don't know if it's.
I know they have like the museum in Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the custom shop really went after a complete handmade instrument, you know, start to finish.
Oh, really?
And they were really trying to recreate, you know, the great sounds of old Les Pauls.
Right.
So I found this one in a music store in Manhattan one day in 2002.
All right.
It was still brand new.
Right, yeah.
I'm the only owner. And I walked in this store called 48th Street Custom, and unfortunately it's long gone. Like most of 48th Street's pretty much gone. So.
Right. That's where all the shops were back then.
Oh,
right?
it was like a candy store for a kid walking down that street. So,
yeah.
So I walked in the store. It was very.
We're going to do the story in a second.
Okay.
You're so good that when you walked in, you weren't shy about playing in front of all those people, I would imagine. Or were you?
No, definitely not.
It's terrifying for someone like me to go, like, I'll just like play without the amp. No, I don't want an amp. You know, nobody listen to me. You could walk in and actually do it.
Well, one thing I do if I am shopping for a guitar or I happen to see something that catches my eye, I always play it unplugged.
Okay.
Because I want to hear what the wood sounds like.
And so you walk in for this one. I know I interrupted you, but yeah.
That's a really long, narrow store it was.
Okay.
And you get all the way to the back of the store. It was like an atrium. It opened up. And high up on the wall was this thing hanging there, and it was that moment of
was
like
it staring at you?
Oh, it was, and the sun was coming through, and there's no sun because it's a store in New York, and it was like oh, you know, that whole moment like
that's right.
It was yeah. So I picked it up and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I was looking for. And prior to buying this, I was a Fender guy.
Right.
Again, being from the Hendrix, mold.
But did you always sort of think about, like Fenders are kind of light, they're not built well, they're just cool, but they're not built well, and these are built solid.
They are, I mean, they're apples and oranges, but
Yeah.
I still have my Fenders. I have a couple of vintage ones, and I love them to death. But,
Right.
So, but this was a major turning point in my musical career, getting into a great Gibson.
Right.
And a different tone and different feel. The feel makes you play differently.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
it's a wider neck.
It definitely, for sure.
Fatter, or flatter neck.
Fatter. This one is, and also, the music that I started writing as a result of this.
Oh, really?
So it was a lot of money at the time. This was $3,700 at the time.
Yeah, that's
and
a lot any time, really.
2002 was like, I can't believe I'm spending this kind of money. Matter of fact, when I left, Discover called me right away. Did you just buy a guitar?
Oh, right.
We're just making sure that nobody stole your credit card. I'm like, no, that was me. So anyway, so I loved the guitar. I went home.
Right.
I didn't buy it. And I couldn't get it out of my head for a week. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back in a week. If the guitar's still there, then I'm just going to buy it. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So the other importance of this guitar is I got involved in Guitar Center was holding a guitar contest, which they've done in the past.
Right.
But this one was geared towards blues, which is what my favorite thing to play.
Right.
So it was called the King of the Blues, and it was a guitar competition. The host for the last final round was B.B. King.
Wow. There
were over 4,000 applicants, and I won the whole thing.
I had heard that, and I'm still off the charts impressed by it.
Thank you. So this was the guitar that I competed with.
Oh.
And Gibson was the sponsor of the event, along with Guitar Center, along with Guitar World magazine. and B.B. King. And so it was like, okay, I'm going to be competing in front of judges, and Gibson is involved. I'm playing my Gibson. I'm not going to show up with a Fender.
Yeah, you can't. Did anyone else?
Yes, they did. A lot of people. I was the only guy playing a Les Paul.
Really?
Yeah, one guy had an SG, and a couple guys had Telecasters and Stratocasters.
I mean, they're great guitars.
And a
but,
335.
like, you show up at a Gibson sponsored.
I know.
I mean, I guess if you don't own one.
But if that's what if that's the guitar that you love and you express yourself the best on, then that's what you should be doing.
Right.
But I felt that way about this guitar, so it was so cool to to win the thing, of course, and so humbled that I had that opportunity and experience. But to be in Guitar World magazine in a 2-page spread, me playing this guitar, so
that's
and
unbelievable.
then through that, I wound up getting an endorsement with Gibson. So
which you don't do. I mean. It's like Princeton, Harvard. That's like the Harvard versus Princeton. Like
Yes.
like they're just a little notch above Fender, I think. They're the two tops, but.
Yeah, I mean the other great thing about it too is I flew all over the world with this guitar. It was on tour with me with Bon Jovi. I played it night after night. Every ding, every scratch, every belt buckle rash that's in it.
Wow.
It's all me. It's not like I bought the guitar or bought a relic guitar that was already beat up. This was all me playing this instrument.
And it's a gorgeous guitar.
It really is. It's got such a beautiful top to it. And
that's what I noticed the second you came in with it. And are those open on the back, or are they
no?
sealed?
These are closed Calusin tuners.
And what is that?
That's just the company that made them. Yeah.
And is that mother of pearl on there?
I've had to replace the tuners a few times because they do eventually start to fall apart. And,
right.
So these actually came from a company called Historic Makeovers in Florida.
Wow.
And they aged the keystone buttons on it to make it look
beautiful.
More vintage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a stunning guitar.
That's a really
so
beautiful.
What did you, do you remember what kind of licks and what you did to win that competition?
Some of them, yeah. I mean, for me, pulling from all my influences of blues guitar players, obviously I mentioned Stevie Ray Vaughan, but much deeper than that with, from Howlin' Wolf to Freddie King, Albert King, B.B. King, Billy Gibbons. I love Billy Gibbons.
Yeah. Can you give us a little taste?
Sure. I mean, really just...
Nice. We want more. That's not enough.
Actually, I screwed the first one up, so let me
That's
try
all
it
right.
again.
Nice. And I hear a little B.B. King floating around in there.
Sure.
Yeah. And that has really nice tone. You're playing pretty clean right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a war machine.
Yeah.
Going into battle.
Are those original pickups, or did you upgrade them?
I did upgrade them. These are made by a guy named Peter Florence. He had a company in Pennsylvania called Voodoo Pickups.
Okay.
And I was friends with Peter for a long, long time. He unfortunately just passed away this year, and was we've lost a bunch of people that were close to us this year. It's been a tough one for that. But one cool thing about this guitar is it made it onto the Jumbotron screen during a Bon Jovi concert.
Right.
And it's a great picture because you see John and he looks so tiny in the picture because it's a picture of the Jumbotron screen.
Right.
And all you see is the flame top of this guitar.
Is that the one we just watched?
I think it's in that video.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, I thought it was a red guitar in that picture, but maybe just the way the lights hit it.
It could be. I have another Les Paul that has more of a reddish tint to it, but this one particular shot has it's just all you see is this big pickup. I mean, the pickup's got to be 100 feet tall. So I sent the picture to Peter, and I'm like, I think this is the biggest Voodoo pickup I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's great.
He was so happy that I got a chance to do that tour and have that experience.
And you know what I like? They look like, if you said these are just the originals, because they look like it.
Yeah, for sure.
They just have like a nice look. They're not trying to mess around and have this like modern look. They're not exposing the dual coils or anything.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're gonna keep it old school.
In theory, they actually sound better without the covers.
Because that's blocking a signal now, right?
It is. Like, you'll actually get more clarity and a bit more sparkle out of the guitar without the covers. But I love the look of the covers of being a Jimmy Page fan, and when I see that, or a Les Paul fan, when I see the covers off.
No, it's beautiful with the cover.
It is, you know.
And they look a little less classy when you see like because they're all plastic.
Yeah.
You know, the two little plastic and the wires wrapped around.
Sure.
And all that. So we're sort of beating around the bush. We're talking about touring with Bon Jovi, but we didn't find out how you connected with the guy. How did that all come about? And then I want to talk about how you guys started working together, which is so cool.
Sure. The Bon Jovi thing was a series of events. I started teaching guitar in the early 90s as a favor to a girl that I was dating, and her neighbor was the sound man for Twisted Sister for 25-something years. He toured all over the world with them.
They're still kicking around.
They're still doing some stuff, yeah. So Charlie was his name, and Charlie was like, "Can you teach my son?" And I had never taught before. And I was like, well, if you guys want to be patient with me, because I had been wanting to teach, but I got to get a curriculum together and this and that. So they were very patient with me, and I taught him for about 10 years. A long time. Yeah, he was my first student. So that led to me teaching and teaching and teaching, and one thing led to the next thing, and I wind up teaching a lawyer one day. Called me for lessons, and he had this really cool house. I'll never forget it. We're still good friends.
What's his name? Maybe I know him.
Brad is his name. So Brad wind up taking a few lessons, and then he stopped taking lessons. I hadn't seen him in a while. Maybe 2-3 years went by. I'm playing at this place called Jamian's in Red Bank. It's one of our favorite places to hang out. We were there just last night for their Christmas party, and we play there, you know, pretty often. So it's our local, you know, hometown gig. And Jamian's been such a huge supporter of the band for years. So I'm playing Jamian's one night, and in walks Brad, and I'm on stage, and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen him in forever. And right behind him was the keyboard player of Bon Jovi, David Bryan. And his entourage, they walk in, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know Brad knew David. So on our break, Brad introduces me to David, and, you know, reconnecting with Brad for a minute. He's like, you gotta meet David, he's the coolest guy. So David and I just started chatting about he's like, is that a Leslie up there? And I'm like, yeah, it's Leslie B3, and you want to sit in for a few songs? You're more than welcome, you know. No pressure if you don't want to. And he kind of thought for a second, and then he's like, yeah, I'll sit in for a few songs. So anyway, so David jumps up, and
he's a fun player.
He's awesome. He's so, I mean, ridiculously talented, you know. So and so talk about the power of music and how it brings two complete strangers instantly together, like we had been friends for 20 years. That's exactly what happened.
That's beautiful.
And it was really cool. So
and again, I've watched a bunch of clips of you guys together, and I could see the chemistry between you guys, that it existed with Bon Jovi, but then it persisted afterwards.
Sure, for sure. So David and I became friends. David and his wife, Lexi, started hiring our band to do some of their parties at their houses. And we just became tighter and tighter. And then one day, David was like, you know, hey, we have a tour coming up, and I think we need a guitar player, you know.
And he had the power within the band to suggest that, I guess.
Sure, yeah. And he's like, you know, do you want to, you know, talk to Jon and maybe do an audition? And
you're like, no, I'd rather not.
Exactly.
I gotta wash my hair that week.
So that's pretty much how it went, and I got the call to do the audition and went to Jon's house and
that's unbelievable.
Did the audition, and a week later Jon calls me back and he's like, you still want to go on tour? I was of course, yeah. and that's that, and off we went.
Just like that. And then where did you guys tour?
It was all Southeast Asia was the most of the tour.
That's unbelievable. And I saw the clip that we just played, 45,000 people.
And that wasn't, the biggest one we did was over 70.
Really? Where was that?
That was the Singapore Raceway for the Formula One race.
Wow.
And it was just, I mean, it was just a sea of people. You couldn't see the end. You could not see the end of where it didn't end. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe. It was like one of the coolest pictures I think I got from the tour.
Oh, you got, well, we'll make sure we post that. You guys can send it to us?
Yes, for sure.
We'll make sure we get it on the show. So even though, you know, if you've got the monitors going on in your ears, can you perceive how much is out there while you're playing, or the lights kind of taking that away from you?
Some of that gets taken away for sure. It depends, you know. The arena versus the stadium is two different animals, really.
Okay.
And I only had that experience, how many times on that tour, so it's not like I was there for a couple of years or something.
What's the difference between an arena and a stadium?
A stadium is open roof.
Oh, okay.
And arena is closed.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and there is a difference, even though you have your in-ear monitors, there is a little difference in sound, even though the sound's in your head.
Is
in
the
your
sound
ears, but you can feel it coming off the back wall when the sound is bouncing back.
Right, I would think that the open air would probably feel a little more natural.
It does. I think I kind of like that a little bit better. But hey, either way,
you're
it didn't
perfectly
matter,
happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my last show in New Jersey before I left for that tour was at Jamie's.
Okay.
And word kind of leaked out a little bit that I got the gig with Jon.
Right.
So I'm playing there, and it's like it was filled to capacity. It was 160 people. It was 160 people.
Yeah.
And I said on the microphone, well, if you guys didn't know all the rumors are true, I'm leaving this week to play with Bon Jovi, and the place just
probably exploded.
Exploded,
right?
and it was like champagne, shots, everything. It was like not one person walked out of there sober, including me, and so that was the last show I had in New Jersey. The next show was in a stadium, and it was 55,000 people in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Wow.
And
is that the clip that we played is the first time you ever played in a stadium that large?
Yes, that was the first one. And I remember we get there, and we were there a couple days early to get used to the time change and this and that. And,
right.
And we left on a Tuesday night. We got to Jakarta on Thursday morning.
Right.
And I'm like, what happened to Wednesday?
Oh, right, right.
And Jon was like, we flew over it. And I was like just that concept, like I never did that before. That was wild. But
so our clip, again, I've only watched it 20 times, but our clip that we played, that's the first time you ever played, toward an audience, in front of an audience
like
of that size. And there's such drama. Like you and I were chatting about it. Like the drama that Phil X takes his solo.
Yeah.
Then you get the keyboard solo. Then you go.
Yeah.
And you nailed it. And then you did your little dance across the stage, and then you and Phil X are like doing your dueling kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Jon gets this just incredible look of pride, and then he says your name, and that's why he's saying your name, because that's your first real gig with that band.
It was, and how cool he was, not only to me, but in that situation, like that he gave a kid from Homedale a chance to do that. That's
it's unbelievable.
I can't thank him enough for that.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Now, so we've covered a lot of years. Let's go back to you, Eryn. So you're in school in Maryland. Let's talk about your musical journey a little bit. So when did you first start? So you're playing in your church choir, right? At some point you began writing, I guess. How did that all come about?
I guess I was about 13 or 14 years old.
Okay.
I hooked up with this woman, Jon Bon Jovi, and we started writing songs together.
Related?
She is, yeah.
First cousin.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. So now, was she a Maryland resident?
No, this is New Jersey.
Yeah.
I moved to Jersey when I was 12.
Okay, what part?
I went to Jackson.
Oh, okay, so you're a Jersey girl. We can call you that, right?
Yeah.
No, you're not buying it? Okay, you're a Maryland girl.
I'm not. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. You guys could actually have a spat on our show. If you want.
No.
All right.
No, I don't. I've moved around so much that
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
All right. So you start writing. What's her name again?
Jon Bon Jovi.
Jon Bon Jovi. Oh, that's a cool name. That could be a band, Jon Bon Jovi.
It is.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's Jody Joseph.
She changed it.
Yeah.
All right. But it was a name for a band at some point.
It was.
No, it
yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
She was Jody Joseph Band for a while, but she changed because
Bon
that
Jovi.
was like her married name. So now
Right.
she went back to her maiden name.
Jody Bon. I love that. So what kind of stuff? All right. Before we get into that, so you're a singer. Did you play any instruments or?
Guitar.
Okay, I know that. Right. That's right. So would you write on guitar? Would you write just lyrics and?
Yeah, usually I would start with lyrics, and then I usually write on guitar. I've written maybe 2 or 3 songs on piano.
Okay.
But I'm not like
Piano popped in my head. That's why I was thinking of that.
Yeah.
All right.
But mostly on guitar.
All right. And what kind of stuff did you guys do? Were you playing, out?
Yeah, I sang in her band for a while.
Okay.
That was when I was in high school. I thought I was cool back then because I'm like, yeah, I've got a gig in Manhattan tonight.
That is cool.
That
I mean,
is.
that's objective. That's cool.
Especially
You're in high school going in Manhattan to play a gig. That's just objectively cool.
Yeah, we were. I remember specifically Arlene's Grocery. I wasn't old enough to go in because I was like 16.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
the guy I was dating at the time came with me, and we just sat at the pizza place across the street until the show went on, and then I
Right.
played the set, and then I had to leave.
Wow, that's funny. That's funny. So so everyone's drinking. You're not even old enough to be
Yep,
there. Well,
yep.
You're right.
Yeah, and then I would always stay at her house. She had a guest room, and I would stay there and drive to school the next day.
Well, this would be even on a school night.
Yeah, it would be like
Wow.
a Tuesday or Wednesday night. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. All right, so now you're a junior-ish in high school. Did you keep doing that throughout the rest of high school?
I think I left her band when I was 18. So
Why?
I got pregnant.
Okay.
I got married.
All right,
Yeah.
that'll do it. Okay. And then did you stay musically active when you had a young child, or did you take a little time off?
I did. No, I went to audio school. So
Okay.
I did that for a while. And then my two aunts and I started a karaoke business.
Oh, that's smart.
So we ran
Yeah.
karaoke all over like Ocean County.
Okay.
And we were with the Karaoke Chicks.
Oh, I like that.
It's just no fair for amateur singers to come up after she just sang.
And
you
both
know.
of
my
my
God.
aunts sing too.
Oh, you would
So-
sing also?
Oh yeah, that was my job.
Yeah.
My aunt did all the.
It's like playing guitar after this guy plays guitar. Like,
Thanks.
you notice I'm not going anywhere near those two things. You know. So how could people sing after you? Like,
We had like our regulars that would come out, and
Oh, okay.
I think because me and my aunts sang, we
Yeah.
brought out like a higher caliber of singer.
okay,
So
right.
you know what I mean?
Almost like an open mic-ish kind of thing.
Yeah, it was more like that.
Right.
And
Not
they
quite.
all had their songs that they sang, and
Okay.
you know, we knew, you know, when Dave is here, let's pull up this song, you know.
Right.
So that was it. I loved it because I was making money singing. And,
Right.
You know, and then shortly after that, well, I did grow up singing in my aunt's country band too.
Okay.
She was the lead singer of that, and then when I was, I don't know how old I was, 11
Okay.
maybe, she put me in the band.
Wow. Now, did you have pipes back then?
I mean,
Without,
Obviously-
putting humility aside. Yeah.
I don't remember. I've obviously
All right. How
evolved.
about, let me ask it this way. Did people say, wow, you're a good singer, young lady? Oh,
Well,
you hear
yeah.
things like that. All right. So you had good pipes back then.
That's why my aunt knew I could sing just from, messing around the house, and
Right, right.
she was like telling her band at the time, like,
Yeah.
you have to hear my niece. And every time I would get up there, I would chicken out
Okay.
because I
Right.
was too afraid.
Well, you're 11 years old.
Yeah, I was afraid. And then finally, she used to have a annual barbecue, and her band would play. And finally, I sang. I think it was "Crazy" by Patsy Cline, and they
And-
were like, "Okay, bring her to all the gigs."
And did it just bring the house down? Like
Yeah,
out of
my
nowhere?
family was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, where'd that come from?
They knew that I liked to sing, but they hadn't really heard me because I was always shy. I was very shy.
Right. I mean, yeah, even like, when we were doing our mic checks, now your voice is a little, when we first did our mic checks, you were kind of quiet. And this is right after I heard you sing so powerfully, you have to have the mic 30 feet from your voice
Yeah.
because you'll blow up a mic,
Yeah, that's
So-
why I told Matt he never wants to hear me yell.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that would be scary.
He's never
I
heard me
haven't
yell.
heard it yet. Well, it's
Not in
let's-
15
let's-
years.
So
knock
who's
on
the,
wood.
was it Ella Fitzgerald in those commercials who would break the glasses?
I think so, right?
Yeah, I think it was her in those commercials.
Yeah.
You could probably break a glass if you worked at it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So,
Try that.
so now I'm trying to think of the timing. So let's talk about right after you graduate from high school. Where you have a young child?
Yep.
Where does your musical career go from there? You have the karaoke business.
And then
What's next?
I started a cover band called Easily Amused, and it was with one of the guys who was in my audio class. He played guitar,
Okay.
and then we just kind of found some people around Jackson area where I lived, and
Right.
we started playing some gigs just in Seaside and doing the little cover band circuit.
Right. Right.
But I then left Sundance, which is my aunt's cover band.
Okay.
I left that, and then did Easily Mused for a couple of years, and then I left that, and then I started my own band.
Okay. What was the name of that?
At the time, it was Eryn Schul Band,
Right.
and then I
That's
changed
what I wrote
it.
here. Sweet Eryn Schul.
Yeah.
And I learned today you go by eryno'ree.
I know.
Well, and then my artist
Yeah.
name for my solo stuff is just Eryn.
Yeah.
Oh, I
No
like
last
that.
name.
Eryn.
Yes.
Not an I, but a Y.
Right. But my band changed from Eryn Schul Band to Eryn and the Whiskey Devils.
I like that too. All right.
And then I just dropped. Well, I still kind of do. If I do gigs with my band, I call them the Whiskey Devils.
Now I'm trying to figure out. So we have two lines of succession, you and Matt. So what year and what iteration of your musical lives was it that you guys met?
It was at the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park. And
Okay.
it was right after I won the Guitar Center competition.
Okay.
So 2006, I guess, probably early summer-ish, something like that.
You better get it right, Matt.
It must have been.
I don't know. I don't remember what one. It was right after he just got back from winning that competition.
Okay. And then where are you in your musical career at that point?
I was still in 2006. I graduated high school in 2001.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was young.
But you're a few years into your musical career at that point. Which band are
Yeah.
you with at that point?
I had just started my own band.
Okay, so that's where you each were. So you
Which
come
I-
back from winning the award,
Yep.
right? And you had just started your own band. You meet at the Wonder Bar.
We were both playing an event,
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
and that's when I had seen her play. And she came up to the bar and said, "Hey, sailor, how about a drink?"
Was that literally your line?
No.
No. I wish. That would have been way more clever.
I know.
So did you have a line?
No. No, remember how shy I was.
That's true. So did
Yeah.
you have a line, Matt?
I was no.
Yeah. But all
No,
silliness
I just
aside.
said, hi, I'm Eryn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just said, "Hi, I'm Eryn."
But
and then we.
yeah, but all silliness aside, like I've watched between takes, you'll hold Matt's hand. Like there's something really nice, like really nice between you guys. Very supportive. Did you guys like immediately when you first met? Did you feel like did you feel the connection with Matt that Matt felt with the Gibson when you first met?
I did.
Okay.
I knew
Yeah.
from day one. I actually found an old message on Facebook from years ago that I
Right.
had sent him that I was telling him that I felt we had a connection.
Yeah.
No, it's nice. Like I'm,
I didn't smarten up yet. Is really what it was.
well, you're smart now. That's all.
I did. Yes, I got there.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it really, literally was when we finally got serious.
right.
It was our drummer's wife was like, Eryn really likes you, and I think you guys would, because I was just one disastrous relationship after another, and that's how you learn, though. I don't regret any of it. I still
No, you
I'm
grow
still-
from your mistakes. You don't
Of
grow
course
from
you
your
do.
successes.
No,
Yep.
Yeah.
still friends with a lot of the people that I dated in years past, but it was that one thing. It was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I can't
Right.
do this anymore, and I knew that it wouldn't be that way with her.
We were already friends for 9 years at that point.
Oh, really? That
A long time,
now
yeah.
I understand what you were
Yes,
saying.
so it was a long time in there.
So there was a nice, deep, trusting friendship that had
Yes.
grown over years. So by the time
Yep.
you guys started actually dating,
Yeah.
you really knew each other.
Because we would see each other on festival gigs that we
Yeah,
were
we played
both,
all the same events.
both booked on.
And I'm sure overlapping groups of friends.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And fans.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you're in the same musical scene together.
Sure.
Now, and
He beat me out on all the competitions.
you're a jerk.
Well,
No, I went up to him at the Pony one time after he won all the top blues awards and stuff,
Right.
and he beat me out. And I was like, you know what? If anyone was gonna win, I'm glad it was you.
Oh, that's nice.
it was nice of her to say
Now
that.
that's a good segue. So we talked before, but so I'm at a law conference about a month or two ago,
Yeah.
and I told you this before. Sitting at a dinner, and there is an older judge to my left, probably about 75 years old, and he's in a different conversation. I'm chatting with some folks in this direction, and I'm saying, I can't wait to have this guy Matt O'Ree on our show. We have this great show. It's called Guitar Tales, and Matt is such a wonderful guitar player, blah, blah, blah. And this guy says, what? And I I go left, and I start chatting with him.
He's
and
like, I thought I put that guy away.
right. And he's like, I ran a contest that Matt won. It's not the same one you just told us about, right?
No,
There was the blues
there was
competition.
other things.
I was in
there.
that competition.
Oh, so he's a judge. You said you still call him the judge.
Yeah.
But how crazy is it that here I am at a completely unrelated event?
Sure. So that's the 6 degrees of separation.
It is. It's kind of like, I'm
2.
Clark Kent at the time, not Superman, and, I'm meeting like Wonder Woman or something. That didn't work. But, but it was so cool. What's his name?
Gene Idanza, yeah.
Yes.
Sweet guy.
Wonderful,
And we
yeah.
ended up chatting about guitars the
Yeah.
whole night because of you.
Yeah.
And now I realize you also.
Gene's been part of the Jersey Shore Jazz and Blues Foundation, and it's an awesome foundation. And we've been members for years, and they help so many musicians get gigs, and it's all blues and jazz, and
Right.
they're such huge supporters, and I can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah, they host a lot of events.
Yeah.
And then you were competing in it too?
Yep.
Were you competing in it as a vocalist or as a band?
As a band.
The band.
Oh, okay.
So they have a thing every year that they send a representative band down to a bigger competition down in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right, he told me about
Yeah,
that.
the IBC, International Blues Competition.
And he sent you to that, right?
Twice we went
Right.
down and competed.
And
yeah.
he said you came in second, I think?
There was down there that how they do their contest. There's different days of competing,
Okay.
and then everybody's trying to pass the test essentially to get to the final show, which is on a Saturday.
Okay.
We never made it to the Saturday.
Okay.
But we competed, multiple days, and I think we did well. I mean, they seem to like us, and we seem to like us. But you never, with contests, you never know because
No.
there could be politics involved.
Right.
There could be, you just never.
Well, it's a
you never
million
know.
different things, and it's the
Yes.
specific taste of the judges
Sure.
and their
And-
biases and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of the blues people, they're very strict about what style of blues you're supposed
Oh,
to be
right.
playing.
They are, yeah.
And it's purist versus
Right.
maybe a little more infused with something else, and
Correct.
what they like and all that.
Which is what we're more of a blues rock
Right.
thing,
Right.
and some blues people don't like their
It's
rock
like
and
just
their
Robert
blues.
Johnson.
And that's it. Yeah.
Right.
Acoustic Robert Johnson.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which we love too, but
And they would
you
send
know.
an acoustic act too, a band and a
Yeah.
solo act.
Right.
so it was fun down in Memphis. We had a good time.
Oh, I bet you did. That's my favorite town in the country.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I love Memphis. I love going to BB King's
Yep.
and just listening to whomever's on the stage.
Sure.
Ribs have to be dry. I like the dry ribs. But now, when did you guys start musically collaborating?
I mean,
It was right after I got I got back from Bon Jovi.
yeah. I mean, I sang with the band a lot
Right.
Yeah.
throughout all the years.
Sure. But it was right when we got back. I wanted to add, because prior to that, the band had always been, it originally started out as a three-piece band,
Okay.
i.e. ZZ Top, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix,
All right, they're
Robin
all-
Trower, all my heroes, right? So, and eventually grew to where we had a fourth member, a keyboard player. Then when I got back from Bon Jovi, I wanted to up the game, so we added.
You had like 6 guys on stage.
Now there's 6. So I added Eryn and our other singer, Leon Holmes.
Who also sings with Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? And then we'll come back to this.
That's 7 separations.
What's that?
Are we going backwards or forwards with separation from John?
No, we're not even doing that. We're not even
Okay,
doing
all
that.
right. We're
But
off that.
something similar. So the first song you guys played, you said that on the track that's on Apple Music and Spotify,
Yeah.
some guy named Bruce played some guitar and did some backup vocals.
He did some lead vocals on a song with us, yeah.
He did lead. Oh, that's
He did,
great.
yeah.
Now, how the hell did that happen?
So, back to my teaching journey, and I still teach guitar every day today too. It's something I just love to do, and
Right.
and keeps me employed. So, teaching one student to the next student to the next student, and you never know who their parents know,
Right.
or their parents that worked with, or how many connections that I've developed and relationships I developed through teaching.
Right, right.
Not necessarily from the teaching lesson aspect of it, but from their parents or their relatives, right? So one student to the next, I wound up meeting Bruce's son.
Right.
You're at the
Oh.
Guitar Center competition.
Well, so I first I met Bruce's son because he was friends with one of my students I was teaching,
Okay.
and he hung out for the lesson one day, and we were just jamming, and he was playing a little piano, and we
Oh,
were
really?
working on some guitar parts, whatever. So then I went off to go compete in the Guitar Center contest. The final round in that, there was 5 rounds in the whole competition. The final round was in Chicago at House of Blues.
Oh, wow.
And B.B. King was the headliner of the event. So
Right.
we kind of, really the competition was opening up for B.B. King is really how it went. So,
Oh, I see.
So as I win this thing in Chicago, and my friends that came out with me, my bandmates at the time, we're celebrating, beers flying, everything, everything. And I get a phone call, and it was Patty calling me to say, "Hey, my son really."
Patty Scalfa.
Yes.
Yeah.
My son really enjoyed your teaching, and felt comfortable with your company. Would you mind coming to teach Sam at our house? And I was like, yeah, I would love to. Be honest.
That's where you just say, no, I draw the line.
I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, but it was just funny because really it literally was in the middle of celebrating, winning this competition.
Right.
The competition went on. It was 1 round per month, so it was a 5-month long thing. So in between these rounds, I had to up my strategy to figure out how am I gonna outbeat the next guy. Like
That's
you had to
amazing.
keep thinking that. Yeah. So it was kind of like I took a page out of Bruce Lee's book of never showing your hand in a fight. He would never go to a fight and start doing kung fu forms, and showing people what he knew.
Or like what I said.
He didn't want anybody to know.
Like when we were talking before, again, off camera,
Yeah.
when Eddie Van Halen would play at the Whiskey, his back would be at the audience,
Of
so
course,
they couldn't
yeah.
figure out what he was doing.
Sure. So when I would sit there and watch the other competitors, I just sat there, didn't say a word, and just focused and watched what they were doing and say, okay, I as a teacher, I could see where they were proficient, and I could see where they might not have been proficient. But there was a lot of great players in the competition. Really, it was anybody's game at the end.
Did that feel on some level antithetical to you being an artist, like competing as opposed to just creating?
Yeah, it's the competing
You just
thing.
smiled. That
It's,
resonated with you, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how many times I've heard, you should try out for American Idol.
Right.
You should try out for The Voice,
Yeah,
And
you have the pipes for it, but
I've
you
tried
want
out
that.
for all of them.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
I've Star Search, because I'm old, and American Idol, The Voice, National Star. I don't even know if that show's still on.
Right.
America's Got Talent, The Voice. I don't know if I said that right. Yeah, all of them.
And you got
I
better.
even had producer auditions where you get to audition before the general public.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because you've got better pipes than people who win those things.
Sure. And like we said, you never know who's going to win because it could be political, it could be somebody knows somebody, like how all those things go.
Well, not only that, you look at like Katy Perry, like all over the internet, all they say is she gets intimidated by, the people who, sometimes at least gets intimidated by some of the singers. That could be it.
Yeah.
If you got a bigger voice than some of the people judging you, that could hurt you.
Sure.
I did a lot of that when I was young, and I was definitely more awkward.
Right.
My shyness probably always held me back a little bit.
Maybe.
But, I just figured that's not my path.
No, and not only that, like for you, like it got you a certain thing.
Sure.
But I wonder if that really helped your craft, or if it just got you something sort of vocationally. Like,
Yeah.
like if you hadn't entered that competition, you'd probably be as good and as creative a musician as you are right now, right?
Probably, because I
Yeah.
mean the competition wasn't really. I mean, it was nice. It was nice to do it because it pushed me to work even harder
Right.
at playing better.
Right.
So I knew I had a deadline. I had a competition. I had to get through this. So I definitely grew in that 5 months. There's no doubt about that. And the amount of hours I put into practicing, much like, getting the Bon Jovi gig. It's like, okay, I got to learn 44 songs. Oh my God! Like, how do I keep all this stuff in my head? So it's like, but sometimes those deadlines are really good because it really pushes you to
Right.
work even harder.
And I guess it's a different effort that you're improving your craft, not your art in that one, I would think, even though there's probably a little bit of overlap.
Yeah, for
floating
sure.
around.
But back to your original question, like
Yeah.
the competition versus the art, it's like music's not a competition.
Right.
It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Nope.
And like,
And I was in a competition similar to his with a different store.
okay.
Belk is a southern department store.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the same kind of thing. It was over a period of a few months, and we had to go to different cities to compete and I ended up winning the blues part of it.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And that so let me hit you with the same question. So that effort, did it feel organic to you, or did it feel kind of weird that you're using your art but in a competitive way?
It's definitely weird, and for that one too, it was more focused on me as an artist, where he was doing it as a guitar player.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So I was performing as me, and
Right.
we would do like these little promo things, and I would talk about myself and how I am as an artist, and then I was also playing my own songs.
So it's more, so your event probably was more organically affiliated with your art.
Yeah.
And then yours is probably, it has it, but it's probably a little bit more about technique. Than
I
just-
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but trying to have a balance of technique and
Authenticity, I guess.
that and soul and
Right.
you know and
Right,
feel-
'cause it's
From your
blues.
heart.
It
Right.
is.
But it's got to just come
It
from
has
your
to
heart.
be from the heart, yeah.
And did you get to sing, or was it just guitar?
It was just guitar, you know, and it's again great to be in those competitions. You know, it's great to do it, but it's also kind of sad sometimes because some people that suddenly become not your friend when you win, and it's like
Right.
I don't want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the way it went. you
But
know.
everyone has their, I mean, that was part of your, it's a piece of your path,
It is,
you know?
yeah.
And you beat 3,999 people or whatever. That's crazy.
So that after winning the thing, so I wound up teaching Bruce's son for a long time, almost 7 years, and he was like my little brother. Like he's just such a great kid.
Wow.
And it was him that played one of my songs for Bruce one day, after asking me if, hey, let me hear one of your songs you're working on, and I was actually giving it to him because I wanted to hear his opinion of someone who grew up in the house of Bruce, right? So
yeah.
I knew as a kid, you know, especially younger generation, I want to hear those opinions because I'm still stuck in the days of vinyl records and 8-track.
Right.
And he's on, whatever, Spotify, right? So I want to hear those younger opinions so I can maybe tweak something, you know?
And he enjoyed it.
And he enjoyed it, and he played it for his dad, and his dad commented on it. And when I saw him, he's like, said that he liked the song, so I mustered up every ounce of courage, and I asked him to play on it, and he agreed to it. So
That's beyond
it
fabulous.
was awesome. And his vocal track is fantastic.
I'm
It's
gonna
so
check
cool.
it out
Best
on
thing I've
Spotify.
heard.
It's called,
What's the name of the song? I'm
it's
gonna write
called
it down.
Black Boots.
Black Boots. I'm writing it down right now.
I'm not a superstitious man, no. These shoes, they got a curse on them, yo. Sometimes I think that you're just chasing me. Don't believe in conspiracies, but seems like they got it out for us. Coincidence is a little too much to believe. Black boots and gold chain, feel the trouble about to begin. That's all coming out in dark times, woman. I can't stop these black boots. These black boots. The stage job's not a who I am, no. So far from my rock and roll plan, Joe. Yeah, the sturdy fun makes it feel alright. Why stop to check or run away and hide? Everyone says it's killing me. I hear you, but it's not that easy. Black boots and cold gin, feel the trouble about to begin. That's all coming out now. Dark times, woman, I can't stop these black boots. night, yeah. Better see from these plenty nights, baby. See the badness looking through the door. Boots unlaced and her dress on the floor. Black boots and cold gin. Feel the trouble about to begin. That's all coming out, yeah. Dark times coming, I can't stop these. Black boots and cold gin. Feel the trouble about to begin. That's all coming out, yeah. Dark times coming, I can't stop these black boots. Oh, no, no. I can't stop these. Oh, these black boots, baby.
When people want to find your music, either separately or jointly, where do they find it?
Right on our website, matto'reeband.com.
So MATTO'REE, that's O''REE, not
It-
R-E-A,
Well, not,
R-E-E.
no apostrophe in the website.
Oh, okay.
on the website, yeah.
Okay, so Matt, O-R-E-E, band.
Yes.
Put band in at the end, although I'm
Yes.
sure if you Google
You,
it,
you
you'll
could just Google the name, you'll find us, yeah.
And I'm sure you have Instagram presence.
Yep, all that stuff. And then
Facebook.
we'll be down in St. Bart's in the Caribbean playing for 10 days over New Year's Eve this year.
Oh, that's
which is-
fantastic.
Which is awesome.
And then we have a lot of touring coming up for
Yeah.
2020.
Oh, really?
It's gonna be a
we're
busy
gonna
year.
be, yeah, we're gonna be down south a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Texas, New Orleans, Florida,
And then we're going west, New Mexico.
Mexico, Colorado, Ohio,
Ohio.
Illinois.
Wow. So just a whole national tour.
Yeah, and we'll be grinding it out this year.
So to find the dates, we just go to your website, right?
Yeah, it's real easy. to find.
matto'reeband.com,
Yep.
basically. All right, that's fantastic. Well, look at the clock. We've been here for well over an hour, and it literally feels, I'm not kidding, it felt like 15 minutes with you guys.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on. This was
Thanks
fabulous.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, our absolute pleasure. So we have so many more great shows lined up for you here at Guitar Tales. We've had great guests. We have many more to come. We have many more for season 2. I want to put out a special thanks to our publicist extraordinaire, Scott Guitarmacist Engel. He lined up the show tonight.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Scott.
It was absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Scott. And thank you to our great friends here at Riverview Studios, riverviewstudios.com. And you could find us on Guitar Tales at guitartales.com. You could find us with our YouTube channel, Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen. We have an Instagram page, which I don't know how to use. And we have a better presence on Facebook because that's for old farts like me. We will see you at our next show. This is Dave Cohen signing off. Have a great day. Bye-bye.